This is a mugshot, excuse me, of Brian Nichols. He is, I don't think he's on death row, but he's serving life in state of Georgia. And he's been charged and found guilty of several crimes. Um, he was born in Baltimore, Maryland, but he was found guilty March the 12th, 2005, of killing a judge and two others. Um, I believe he was charged with rape, and he was incarcerated in Fulton County, Atlanta, Georgia, where so much of this I've written about and happened to me. Now, my point here, this man, this is one of those, if anybody cares, can totally be proven. It's a mind control murder, and it's deliberately done in patterns. This is where the Wayne Williams, who supposedly killed the black children in Atlanta, took place and found guilty in Fulton County Court, and he's in state prison. But there's been a long list of them, and I've told them. I want to show that again to you because what's involved in that's a mugshot. Kidnapping, murder, robbery, aggravated assault. Okay, now I'm going to turn that off. It's hard to get this organized when I'm kept penniless and soaked in drugs, illegal toxic vapors in my home when I get a home or a room like I have now. Run from here to there. And I try to tell it, and it's like an all-out war on me. I will say this, Larry Flint was shot in Lawrenceville, Georgia, March the 6th of 78 while I was doing the book in Marietta. And he says here that I know who was responsible for his shooting there. Well, it's the agency that's doing this, but the one doing this it could be proven. I mean, mind control is invisible, so it's hard to prove. And this was done in April of '84, this article. Now, I wanted to mention just another one. He's not on death row, but he could have been, is O.J. Simpson. Those were mind control murders. And the one that's going to trial, but you won't hear this, it'll be covered up too, unless there's a miracle, all right, it's the murder of Hannah Graham, and I'm so sad that young lady. She's British, and this is why this has happened. This country has done to me. They kidnapped me, and I want to get back to that because let me say this. She was a student at the University of Virginia next door to me here. I live, if you call it living in Roanoke Travel. I've lived on the Appalachian Trail and starved and frozen. There's not anybody around here that doesn't know what's happened to me and is ongoing. And they just want me shut up like that's going to solve their problem. I was kidnapped, I found out in '83 after I was out at Flint's during that campaign about my kidnapping. This is my father, Edward VIII, who they have so maligned. And this is a Salisbury. Frank Salisbury is the name of the photographer. I was kidnapped and brought here in '41 to Moulton, Alabama, and my identity stolen, given the name of a dead twin, Peggy Ann Dempsey Childers. Both twins were dead, and it was a pigsty. I later, the hell that was caused to me then growing up, but to my family, my father was married to Claudia Ruth O'Keefe, United States citizen, Irish Catholic, not this woman, Wallace Simpson. And by the way, I want to get this in. A friend of mine told, and it's true, I looked it up. I don't know at the moment if it was Life magazine, but this woman was the first woman that that graced the cover. Was it Life? It was. There's one other big one, but anyway, it's easy. So it was a few years during this time period when they forced out my father illegally. They forced King Edward VIII out, and I was born in '39, the legal heir to the British Crown, and kidnapped in '41 by Joe Kennedy, who was ambassador to Britain, My own Uncle George, who's illegal, and his wife, Elizabeth Bose, she's kin to the Rothschilds, Rockefellers, Bilderbergers that helped kidnap me, and Kennedys, and here's Roosevelt. So they took down my father, and this is a woman who's lived off of my hell and a traitor to the British. It's unreal the crimes that this is ever forced to be told. She's using my money, by the way. She's illegal. And again, this is a fraud that was perpetrated and never corrected here. Simpson was never married. She's an American spy. She married a look-alike, a double. And the British citizens are the ones that's paid for these crimes. Now, I want to get to one of the things I found out later. I've had antifreeze put in me. I've had everything in the book done to me. I don't know where my sons are, Mark and Scott, the heirs after me. This whole thing has been like in Atlanta, Mrs. Martin Luther King would not talk to me. She said a person out who told me that he was black. And this is the dead of winter after the antifreeze had been put in me, and I'm on the street where I used to live, or in an Atlanta area. That told me he knew about mind control. This is back in '82, after this happened, and he mentioned Rhodesia, and I didn't know the connection. Later, I did after I found out my name. Africa, the whole onslaught on Africa was part of taking everything British, which was illegal treaties that were signed by George VI when they took out my father that allowed the United States to put its bases on British soil and hold Great Britain hostage, hold me, the real monarch, hostage, and torture us all with their lies and their all of it. Anyway, I wrote about mind control, and Larry, this is part of them, the Nichols. The civil rights and the blacks civil rights leaders, none of them will tell this. Martin Luther King knew about me. He joined hands with JFK, president, and their goal was, Andrew Young was appointed ambassador to UN, and he was part of the Africa, supposed to save Africa. Well, what they've done is they've spread the Ebola and the AIDS, and you can't virus to Africa. It's taken over Africa, and the New World Order controls this place. It's Obama, it's the corporations, it's Elizabeth, sold out her own country, the lying, and her father, and all the British that have been killed. But I won't say this at the end because it's going to go out. By withholding evidence, and this is evidence, it's mind control, it's done in pattern, it's the agency, law enforcement that's deliberately done it. And to withhold this information and put all these people in prison that are under victims of mind control, they did not do it, they're programmed. And Nichols is part of it, he's black. And Simpson's black, and there's a whole list of them. Totally, it's the worst conspiracy in history. And that's what I want to say. They've deliberately withheld it, and unless Hannah Graham and Morgan Harrington, and I'm not sure they're going to tell it, but Jesse Matthews is the man that's under mind control that committed those murders, and it feeds back to Alexis Murphy. A year ago, she was kidnapped, August the 4th of last year. Body's never been found, but Randy Taylor is found guilty. Now then, do you see me telling this, and they do not want told all the mess that got involved in it and what they've done to me. But unless they tell it, they've taken him from Charlottesville, Nichols, he's black, up to Fairfax, where supposedly he raped a woman there. If they shut this up, I'm 75 years old. Great Britain's done all they can do. It's about time, people, you woke up and started marching, which the blacks have done in Ferguson and down against Zimmerman. Not one time have they lifted a hand to help me and tell the truth in this, and nobody else. Anybody could have, the news media, or